Alright, busa for me church will be an amensa mo bibi akwa ba enfambra Ayeka TV. Busa for me famu nkɔ akyi kakra na busa for ɛyɛ rich dapa na afei de ɔno ankasa n'anum to ɛde confess part sɛ ɛnya asɛm pita ɔkyɛkyɛ nsɛnsɛm bebree enti ɛma ambulance case no we nyina etimi ba ɛfa ato Forson so kyɛ sɛ ɔde nokora no nyinaa bɛto abɔnten kyɛ sɛ busa for ɔkyɛkyɛ nsɛm no mu from Dubai how ɔman si anya approve mfiri mpanyinfoɔ hɔ ɔmo ankasa de kwati kwan ɛyɛ deɛ ɔmo pɛ nyinaa no gyebrɛ nkuti nsɛm no nkyɛm yɛ kɔba yɛ ba bɛto aso mɛsɛ ɔsɛ ɔbɛ subscribe to my channel ɔbɛ like na ade wadwe nkyɛn so ɛgu comment section kama.
Cross-examination by his deputy, Afia.
I want to correct some misconception and mischief that is the Attorney General and the government have created and using their surrogate media houses to be peddling falsehoods, twisting proceedings of the court, and then bringing out evidence that I have no idea about and trying to put it on me. I want to address that. The Attorney General brought a pile of documents to the court about my military career. I left the military about 17 years ago. Now he brought a document purporting that I have committed certain crimes according to the letter. In fact, that letter I was not copied. I have no knowledge of that letter. And that letter are allegations that are unsubstantiated, unfounded, and I was never confronted with by the military 17 years ago. And that letter is purported to have been written by one Brigadier General Ahiaglo.
You know him?
In fact, I know Brigadier General Ahiaglo. He's dead. He's deceased years ago. And he wrote that letter on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff, who was by then Major General Odote. So Brigadier General Ahiaglo was a staff officer to the Chief of Army Staff. So he wrote on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff. So this unfounded allegation that I was never confronted with, I was never made known of, a secret report document that they wrote to the Chief of Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, who reports to the Chief of Defense Staff, the CDS. I have no knowledge about it. In fact, today is the first day I saw that letter, dated, I think, 22nd or so of 2007, about 17 years ago. Now, in that letter that I have no idea about, they claim I consistently engage in fraudulent conduct. And when you use the word consistent, it means I didn't engage in fraudulent conduct once, several. Yet the military that I know will not countenance such a behavior once, even for it to become consistent, without charging you, trying you, whether by your commanding officer or appropriate superior authority or by a court martial. I've never even gone on an interview on it. I have no knowledge of all those, that such a letter had been written by 7 military officers in order to get me out of the military without my knowledge. I was not made known about that.
But why didn't you make it clear to the court when you were confronted with the document?
I was never given the opportunity. In fact, the Attorney General was so mischievous that he presented a document, asked me to read it per the court rules. I read it, and then after reading it, he jumped into a different area so that I wouldn't have the opportunity to dissect that letter and expose the mischief and the unfounded allegation and the secret diabolical letter that was written in order to paint me black when I was in the armed forces during the MPP's time when they were in power in 2007.
Was that document not part of the disclosures made?
No, it was not part of disclosure. It was just brought today to the court. And in fact, that document has nothing to do with the ambulance case. as we are dealing with now, at all.
But you understand they want to undermine your credibility. That's what they are doing. And prosecution is allowed to do that.
I agree. You do that, but then you do that with substantiated, incontrovertible evidence. Not someone who has written a secret document about someone and the person was never confronted. He has no knowledge about it to even defend himself or to even speak to that particular, those allegations. 17 years ago. And the surprising thing about the whole of that document was that what that letter was alleging was not upon which I was released from the service. That's even the surprising thing about it. I was released under a clause in our Armed Forces Administration Volume. It's a law, which states that I am being released for lack of application or interest. Lack of application or interest has nothing to do with misconduct and service terminated, which is purely under the discretion of the CDS of the Ghana Armed Forces. So I was not dismayed, I was not released out of misconduct. In fact,
were you released out of indebtedness to several people and institutions, which is part of what you read in Open?
Not at all. In fact, the release quoted the clause in the Armed Forces Administration law, quoted it clearly. And in that law, it talks about lack of application or interest, service terminated. And I was paid all my gratuity fully. The Armed Forces paid my gratuity fully. And also, in the release, there was an arrangement for the Armed Forces to bear the full cost of transportation of all my household, which as we speak now, they have not even paid it to me.
Now, if you look at the document that I was confronted with, do you feel hurt? Does it hurt your case?
No, not at all. In fact, it's a diversionary tactics employed by the Attorney General trying to discredit my credibility because he had engaged himself in criminal conduct and trying to coerce me to commit a crime by implicating Honorable Atu Forson and answering questions to make his case good in court. And also procure a dubious fake excuse duty to deceive the court.
And you say you were as fit as fiddle?
Yes, to deceive the court. And as at the time he was impressing upon me to procure a fake excuse duty to deceive the judge and the court so he could travel, I was as fit as a fiddle. So I couldn't lie to the court. So I refused.
Why didn't you go to the police station and make the report straight away?
Oh, that is yet to be done because the evidence is still there. And I will wish to remind you, crime against the state has no expiry date. So at any time of my convenience, I can go and...
Mr. Jakpa, were you disappointed that the Attorney General has moved away from your claim that you engaged him on the telephone and he's focusing more on the contract and the LC?
Can you come again? I don't get your question.
Were you disappointed when the Attorney General stepped in? He moved away from your claim that you had an audio conversation with him and is focusing more on the LC and the contract between Government of Ghana and Big C.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all because he had to move away from the audio recording and then the WhatsApp meeting and other things, calls he made to me, he had to run away from because those are incontrovertible evidence. He can't lie about them. There's no way he can lie about them. And they are fact. So he had to run away from them. And now